I'm known for doing monthly giveaways, but rarely do you ever hear of me doing any sort of sales or discounts. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 3, maybe 4 different ways that you can get the homie discount next time that you visit. Alright, so the first way that I will do a homie hookup is if you let me try a new technique on you. Now what does that mean? Well, believe it or not, there's more than one way of doing a piercing. You can do tools, no tools, you can do it inside out, outside in. It really just depends. I mean, there's just so many different ways that I want to have the opportunity to try 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 of those techniques. So usually by the time that I offer this to the public, I've already tried it either on colleagues, I've already tried it on really good clients that trust me. Will very honestly communicate that with everybody that, hey, look, I'm trying a new technique. Do you feel confident in me to do this piercing on you? And if the answer is yes, then the next step would be for me to offer this to the public. Why would I want to try new techniques, right? Well, there's a lot of benefits to it. One, it's just another method that I can have. I'm more versatile because I know a new technique. The other thing too is, since my studio has gone all disposable, the fact that I don't have to use that tool, the fact that I can very easily dispose of all the tools after, or if anything is even used, makes it better on my end. So you allowing me to feel more comfortable using a certain technique, and if I'm using less tools because of it, sure, it's maybe only like anywhere from 50 cents to, you know, $1 or 2 or something like that every time that I need to use that tool. But when you add that up, by the end of the year, I could be spending several $100s if I'm not comfortable using a certain technique. So if you're following me, you understand that you're actually helping me. So in a way, I'm going to hook you up because you're helping me learn more by doing so. Does that make sense? So there you go. That's number 1. The second way to get the homie hookup is if you let me use certain jewelry on you. Well, there's a variety of different reasons why I would want to use certain jewelry. One, it could be something that's been sitting in my display case for a really long time and just hasn't been moving. Or sometimes there's certain jewelry that I think looks really cool, and unfortunately a lot of the people in this area don't. Everybody wants to stick to clear CZs. Maybe there's a certain gem combination that I think would look really cool, and maybe all it takes is just one person to try out that piece, and other people are gonna see it and they're like, whoa, cool, that looks so rad, I want that piece too. Kind of something similar that I did with those 5-stone clusters for a minute. But what I ended up doing was calling up a really good client. I was like, hey, check this out. I really like these 5-stone clusters. They're just not moving, yada, yada, yada. I did the piercing. I posted it on Instagram. People loved it. People were requesting them. And for a minute there, I was doing a whole bunch of conch piercings with 5-stone clusters on them. So that would be another reason why I would want certain jewelry used, and how you can get the homie hookup if you let me use certain jewelry on you. And while we're on the topic, there's some pieces of jewelry that I've been meaning to use. I'm going to put them on this video right now. And if you're wondering how those pieces of jewelry are going to look on certain piercings, I'm going to put example now. So if you're interested in getting any of those pieces, go ahead and direct message me on Instagram, and we should schedule something for either Friday or Saturday, depending on when you watch this video. If it's earlier on, I may still have it. If you're watching this maybe like 2 years from now, then they're probably gone already. So alright, and the third way that I would ever offer somebody the homie hookup is I completely F up. So for one, it doesn't happen too often. But when it does, you best believe that I'm going to be pretty embarrassed about it. Trust me, you will know if I screw up a piercing, because I'm human, it happens, I'm not perfect, I'm not a robot. I am going to screw up a piercing every once in a while. It doesn't happen too often, but it does happen. It has happened before in the past. I'm sure it's going to happen again at some point. Very, very rare at this point, but it does happen. How would I screw up a piercing at this point? Number one way that I would end up screwing up a piercing is if I lose transfer for the most part. I think the last time that I kind of screw up a piercing was a septum piercing. any piercer could agree that septum piercings are probably some of the trickier piercings. What ended up happening was I did the piercing, it came out fine, at least I thought it did. And then she stood up and she was stoked on it. I was like, no, look, if you look at it from this side and and then she's like, oh wow, I didn't even notice that, yada yada yada. I felt real bad. She said, well, maybe it's not that big of a deal. And I was like, no, I can't let that walk out of the door. We need to take it out. And she's just like, hold up. I kind of like it, blah, 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 right? Fuck. I kind of want to take it out at this point because it just didn't look the way that I wanted it to. So what I told her was like, if you like it, go ahead and keep it, but you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay for the jewelry. You don't have to pay for the piercing. It's okay. Like, and she's like, no, I want to pay you. So I'm like, no, I can't accept it. I can't even accept the tip because I didn't like the way that it came out. What she originally came for was a little hoop. Everybody always comes in for the little hoop. And I talked her out of it because, well, little hoops with small gauges, small diameters on a fresh piercing, everybody knows that it does not work out. At least every piercer does. Most clients, when they walk in the door, that's what they want. It's not the best choice for an initial piercing. So what I ended up telling her was like, hey, look, listen, don't pay for the piercing now because I think that I screwed it up. At least I just didn't feel right charging her. When you come back, because sometimes things swell right away, maybe it's that, right? And if you come back and it's straight and you're happy with it, you know, maybe then I will accept payment. So some time passed by and she ended up coming back. She scheduled an appointment, she showed up, and she was really happy with it. We checked it out, and the piercing was straight. Even at that point, I was still like, hey, don't worry about it. You know, like it was so long ago, yada yada. You have to drive like almost an hour or two to get to me. Ended up switching out her jewelry. She ended up paying me for the piercing. I was just like, you know what? Don't worry about the piercing. Just, you know, if you want, you can cover the jewelry. It's gonna cost X amount. She paid in all cash, and I looked at how much she gave me, and it was probably, it ended up being a few times more than the actual cost of the jewelry, just because I was so honest about the piercing and how I felt about it and everything else. I don't know, I'm always gonna be honest with my clients. If I don't feel 100% about something, I'm definitely going to tell you. At the end of the day, as long as you're happy with the piercing, that's all that really matters. But like I said, it's rare that it happens. Sometimes my piercing style seems kind of sloppy or kind of maybe not as cool as you might see other piercers do it on Instagram, where they do things in like 1 second. But to screw up a piercing where I completely miss, it's a mess, there's blood everywhere, that almost never happened. Losing transfer, it has happened before. It doesn't really quite happen too often anymore. Rarely. As far as things coming out crooked, I can honestly say that they're pretty well executed most of the time. The ones where I may have trouble with is maybe like paired stuff where there's symmetry involved. Maybe when there's like 3 bezels aligned and getting the middle one perfectly centered. I'll notice it, you might not. I'll point it out and you might not even care. And now with septum piercings, I can honestly say that I'm pretty confident with septum piercing. And surprisingly, I haven't screwed one up in a really, really long time. Same thing with doth piercings. That's another one that kind of makes me nervous, but I kind of like because of the challenge. But I have yet to f up a doth piercing. Overall, I don't want to sound cocky, but I think that you're in good hands. Now, I'm not trying to say that I'm the best piercer, but I like to think of myself as an honest piercer. But anyway, that's it. That's the three different ways of getting the homie hookup. 1, let me try a new technique on you. 2, let me use certain type of jewelry. And 3, if I really screw up. And then there's number 4, which I may have included somewhere in the middle of this vlog without you really paying attention, or I might have it in the second part. But if you want to stop watching, you can stop watching now. If you want to continue watching, then enjoy the rest of the video. Alright, so this is a part of the vlog where I'm going to reveal the 4th way of getting the homie hookup. But before I do that, let's talk about my bike real quick. About a month ago, I want to go visit my buddy Wayne. And if you don't know who that is, you should. Check the shirt, bruh. That's my dog. I want to go visit my buddy Wayne. and he hooked it up fat with a new Bianchi. So I got a new bike. I've been wanting a Bianchi for a long time. I've been bugging him about it for a long time. I finally had the opportunity to go visit him. He's probably the only reason why I even have a YouTube channel at this point. So it's cool. I gotta go visit my buddy. We talked about YouTube, we talked about body art, we talked about bikes, we ate vegan food. It was a lot of fun. Now, if you haven't subscribed to his YouTube channel, you should. I'm putting a link down below. He has a new podcast too. Go listen, go watch his stuff, go subscribe. Go check him out. But yeah, I was riding the Bianchi and I got a flat tire. However, I have an extra bike, so I have two. I have a leader bike, which I'm selling, and I'm gonna be posting here.
Trippin' Aquafina, I'm sippin' 15, kept a weapon on me. Flow make digits, I'm on my business, stack chicken like what it's gon' be. Crew in the cut, hey, you want us, RevRun when I tell a bit peace. Love is love. Love is love. Adios. BeenDope with the switch again. Boy deliver like he heffinin'. Core with digits, give him estimates. Somersaults for my Benjamins.
If you like what you saw and you're on the market for a new bike, it's for sale. I'm more than happy to hook it up. We can talk pricing, we can talk details and direct messages on my Instagram. So send me a message if that's something that you would want. If you're watching this a year from now, I may still have it, who fucking knows. But direct message me anyway and we can talk. But since I got a flat tire and maybe there's a couple of modifications that I want to do to the bike, I'm gonna go ahead and take it to Trinity Cyclery. Trinity Cyclery is located in Grover Beach. They're awesome, they're amazing, they always take care of me. If you live in the 5 cities or anywhere near San Luis Obispo County, y'all should go check them out because they're fucking awesome. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Swear jar. They're swear jar awesome. Alright, so I'm gonna make food real quick. I haven't ate all day, and then I'm gonna head over there, drop off the bike and everything else. So, cool. Let's go ahead and get started with today's video. Let's go ahead and get started with the second part of today's video. So, what's the fourth and final way of getting the homie hookup?
Dude, you gotta be the meat hook, dude.
You gotta be the meat hook. That's it. Absolutely.
Hello, camera. My name is Alec. You have over 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Not just quite, but almost there.
Subscribe. What's your name? What's your name? On Instagram.
Everyone, I've been just here across all platforms.
I got 2 million subscribers, so you know what's up.
What you gotta do to get the homie hookup?
You gotta get the.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Get ready for this shit right now. Dude, it's about to go down, man. It's about to go down. What do you have to do to get the homie hookup? This is not what I expected at all. What do you have to do to get the homie hookup?
You have to be a miho to get this homie hookup.
you have to do to get the homie hookup?
You gotta be the fucking meal, babe.
What do I gotta do to get the homie hookup?
Bro, you gotta be the fucking meal. Meal, bro. Meal. Let's go.
What do you gotta do to get the homie hookup?
Bro, you gotta be the mijo.
You gotta be the mijo.
You gotta be the mijo. Like, absolutely gotta be the mijo. Here's my route right here. You gotta be the mijo.
You gotta be the meat. My buddy Brian just filmed that arm wrestling this dude right here. I'm gonna try to arm wrestle this guy and see what happens. I don't know how confident I feel about this whole situation, but I'm gonna give it a try. Sorry, we're like in that race. 1, 2, 3. I can't win, dude. Don't give up, you're winning. You're going. Come back, dude. I'm That's my vlogging hand right there, dude. I just fucking try. I can't even hold my beer. All the credit is on this guy right here. That's pretty good, though. Oh, yeah. This guy, man. Good job, man. I tried. That was fun. Thank you, dude. I barely work out.
Are you doing a podcast? Hi. What's your vlog about?